All right, so through the course of our lives, we have been peddled meat in so many different ways that I always try to stick a cool catchphrase on it. Beef, it's what's for dinner. You remember the one for pork that they used a lot when we were kids? The other white meat, right?
Pork, right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were always trying to put some kind of catchphrase on it. And I'll tell you what, I think my wife just discovered the next one because I was cooking up a piece of fish there last night, a highly underrated fish called cod.
Okay.
And whenever I told my wife I was going to cook this thing up, she came up with the best catchphrase ever that's going to sell the shit out of some cod. She said, cod. That's it.
That's
going to sell.
I mean, because
cod.
It really nails exactly how you feel about cod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cod.
So simple. It's always the simple ones that stick with you. Welcome, dead and lovely listeners, to a brand new installment of Dead and Lovely, the Cod Lovinist podcast in this multiverse and beyond. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your good buddy Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steven. We're lucky The Rock doesn't have a podcast, because that dude eats so much cod.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he is on the cod train.
Now I can see him on the commercials and stuff. He jacks that eyebrow up and just gives the camera a hearty
cod.
Cod. You heard it here first on Dead and Lovely. That's right.
Absolutely.
You're also going to be hearing us give you a deep dive review on the movie Lake Mungo, which was a Patreon pick, right?
Yeah.
And this movie, whoo boy, it's a doozy, and we're going to have a lot to say about it, and a lot of it is going to be spoilerific, and this is not a movie that you want spoiled. So if you're listening to this to be like, oh, should I watch the movie? Yeah, you should fucking watch the movie.
Yeah, this is like a number of people had submitted this to the Smoking Bowl. Joe Marquez was the one I drew, but this has been recommended on the Facebook group and all over the place so many times, but I had never seen it, went in completely blind, and I would say if you have not seen it, don't let us spoil it for you. Go watch it.
Oh yeah, because I'd also seen a lot of chat about this and over on like the Facebook group and stuff like that, and I gotta say I'm so grateful that nobody spoiled it for me.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about it, so do yourself a favor, don't let us ruin the movie for you. It's streaming at time of recording right now. It's on Prime, but it's not just Lake Mungo, it's After Dark Lake Mungo, because it's part of some film collection or something, right?
Well, yeah, it's part of the After Dark, the film festival.
Yeah,
it was just a separate release.
I'm not going to say that it's a movie for everybody, but if you feel like watching a documentary / found footage kind of flick that isn't really a traditional horror movie in a lot of ways, this is probably going to do good things for you. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think it's gonna hit. It's one of those that I'm glad I went into entirely blind, without any idea what it was that I was about to see.
Sure, yeah, and I'm glad that I went to it that way. So be sure to check it out. If you've seen the flick and want to get right to the movie review, there's a timestamp for you down there in the podcast description you can use to go straight to it. But before we get to the review, we're gonna catch up, shoot the shit, talk about our week, slam a co-beer, do a little exploring around there in the preview palace, kind of dig around there, see what we can find, and have ourselves a good time. So let's get right on to it. How you been doing this week, Steve?
Man, I've been tired. I've been just tired.
Woo, tired. It's about time to go to bed.
It's, we're a year plus into quarantine. I think that has something to do with it. There's also the springness happening, so getting all the sinus issues I normally get in the spring.
Yep, because we got hills full of tree beards all over the place being like, oh, skeet, 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 skeet. Just blasting us, dude. We're just fucking glazed by those trees 24/7. My car, oh my God, dude, just skeet factory.
Everywhere, yeah. And also, we just had, daylight savings time, which, why are we still doing this? What is this insane practice that makes no sense?
Time travel, dude. It's fucking time travel. You get to do it twice a year. It's awesome. Isn't it? No, not really.
Not one moment of it is awesome. It doesn't do anything for anybody. It is not a positive. It's just a dumb thing.
And the problem with it is, too, is like, okay, you know, I teach on Skype and stuff, right? Teach guitar lessons on Skype. I got students all over the world.
Yeah.
And the entire world doesn't agree on when to do daylight savings time.
Not even the entire United States.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck, man? So every time this happens, I always have a handful of like international students and stuff, and students in various parts of the U.S. that, you know, miss their lessons, and I miss money because the time's all fucked up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a stupid thing that we shouldn't do. And it's real easy to fix. You know how we fix it? We just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Cancel daylight savings time. Cancel it.
I think we should all, like, I mean, there are a million things we need to protest, and god damn it, I wish we would just general strike, but it would be real nice if we could all just be like, okay, look.
Who likes this?
We're not going into work on daylight savings time hours. We're going into work on our hour, the regular hour. When they're sitting at work waiting for you for an hour, guess what? Fucking deal with it. Because we're not doing this shit anymore.
No, fuck that, man. Fuck daylight savings time.
We're not gonna take it.
Daylight savings time. We're not gonna take it.
That's what D. Snyder was going for, right?
I'm pretty sure that's what he was talking about.
Daylight savings time.
Yeah, I get that. It has totally fucked my schedule up too. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it does it every year, but whatever. But I have been, I've been watching some more media and, you know, just kicking it on that elliptical.
Ooh.
It's been fun times, I'll tell you. Everybody loves the elliptical.
I'll tell you what, though, man. Like, you know, we got our elliptical machine here at home during, you know, the pandemic and stuff when we quit going to the gym. And I've gotten so used to just like putting on a flick and doing the elliptical and watching time just fly by. I rewatched Lake Mungo today while ellipting, and it didn't even feel like, you know, 20 minutes had passed. That's something that I'm definitely going to miss whenever like we get our vaccines and stuff and we go back to the gym and everything. Yeah, it's going to be like, man, they're just watching fucking Sports Center again. This sucks.
Yeah, or Fox News.
Ugh.
Always on for some reason.
Oh, speaking of vaccines, you got your first poke there the other day, didn't you?
I did get my first poke. So this is a positive. I think everyone should see this as a positive.
Okay.
It was real hard to find an open appointment slot.
But you did find one.
I did. I had to drive to Clinton, Tennessee. And Clinton, Tennessee is not far from where I live in Halls, which is in Knox County, but it's not Knoxville. Here's the thing about Halls. It feels to me like a small city that just has access to big city stuff, which is it's kind of nice. I would much prefer to live in the big city. So I'm in Clinton and I hear two different conversations people have where they're talking about Halls where I live like it's the big city. I don't even get cell coverage here.
Yeah.
It is fucking country as shit.
Yeah, totally.
So
wow, dude.
But I got my first poke, and I'm excited to get that second one and just lick every nearby object. That's what I'm gonna do.
Now, are you telling me that if, you know, during this podcast, if you just have random moments where you're like, this podcast is brought to you by Microsoft,
I won't hear a negative word against Microsoft, of course.
Oh my God. The vaccine has changed you.
I'm talking to you from a Windows phone. I'm on my Windows computer.
Wow.
With my Bill Gates haircut.
Oh my God, dude. You've transformed. Your DNA has been rewritten, Steve. I heard that this would happen.
I think that instead of raising taxes on rich people, we should let rich people give more to charity. Right?
Oh my God. You're so different since you had the vaccine, Steve. I knew this was going to happen.
What are you talking about? No. Here's the thing. It's a good thing for me to have a ton of money and decide where it goes. I'm real smart.
Oh, okay. All right. That's why you have all the money. Okay, I get it. Makes sense to me. Yeah.
So yeah, get that shot, and everybody go get it as soon as possible. Like seriously, if you're like, oh, I fit this medical criteria, but I'm gonna wait for everybody else to get it before me. You're not helping. You're not helping anybody by waiting it out. Go as soon as you can. The more people vaccinated, the quicker, the better. So don't feel like you're helping anybody.
That's what I worry about
off.
too, man, is like with a lot of these places that are like out in the country and stuff that aren't using up all the vaccine that they're being sent because there's people that are like, waiting in line basically.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to get less supplies and they're like, hey, you sent us 500, but we only used 20, so just send us 20 again.
Yeah. So yeah, don't like
wait.
You can jump on waiting lists as well. I just got a text today about a waiting list I was on. You don't have to fit any of the criteria, I don't think, at all. It's just a waiting list where they will contact you if somebody falls out of an appointment.
Yeah, it's a no-waste wait list.
A no-waste wait list,
do.
yeah. And it's like basically if they text you and you can come immediately, you can come get it. So like, don't hold off. Just get it.
Get that poke.
You're not helping anybody by not getting it because they're just doses that are going to waste. So go get it.
Now, did you have some of those negative side effects after you got your poke?
I had soreness at the injection site. That was it.
Right in the penis, huh?
Yeah, they do. I don't know why they did that for me. They didn't do it for everybody else, but they did make me stand up on a box in front of everyone.
Oh, okay.
And they laughed a lot.
And then they got you just right in the main vein.
Yeah, and they were like, now you're all better, dick. I don't think... Maybe this wasn't a real vaccine site. I don't know.
I don't know if you were dealing with the top brass here, Steve. I'm not really sure about this. Well, did you watch anything after you got your poke?
Oh man, I've been watching stuff like crazy. I watched Leprechaun on St. Patrick's Day because we had just talked about it. We had just recorded the Psycho Gorman episode from last week, and boy, you're not missing anything.
I mean, I've never seen it, but it's got Rachel Green in it, right?
It does. Okay, it does have Rachel Green in it, but boy, it's
good, is what you're saying.
No, I hadn't seen it since the 90s. Like, I think I saw it a few times back then, but had not gone back to it. I watched it and I was just like, how did this get so many sequels? Like, it really is just like somebody was like, oh, I don't think they're going to be making Nightmare on Elm Street sequels anymore. What if we just made Freddy but a different character? Also, what if it was a leprechaun who sometimes uses magic and sometimes just chases people, despite the fact that he's like 4 feet tall? It's not good strategy.
I don't know if you realize it or not, man, but you're selling me on this movie. That was an elevator pitch that I'm fucking on board for.
All right. Okay. I mean, the scenes where he's chasing people are like, it really is just like, he can do magic. Why is this happening? I know that like they explain that his magic is like weak or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. They sort of forget that every once in a while just because they're like, well, right here we want a cool scene. And then suddenly when his magic is back, it's like, okay, he's not going to chase anybody. Oh, no, he's chasing somebody. Huh. What?
This is kind of like conjuring the image of that meme that went around with like the Game of Thrones writer where he was like, we sort of forgot that Leprechaun can do magic.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I watched the Leprechaun. Watched a little movie on the Screamin' Chat called Doom Asylum.
The Dead and Lovely Screamin' Chat?
That's right.
That happens every Friday?
Every single Friday night on Discord, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're streaming a movie from the YouTubes and just chatting about it on Discord. It's a fun old time. We watched Doom Asylum, which is one I had never seen, but I saw recommended on Twitter by someone.
Okay.
It's sort of like it's a horror comedy. I think it's funny.
Maybe
It's funny. For sure.
Whether that was on purpose or not is
yeah.
up for debate.
I think it's a horror comedy and a pretty okay one. I mean, some 80s jokes for sure. But I was surprised I had not seen it. It definitely has the vibe of so many 80s horror movies that I like. So check out Doom Asylum if you like a bunch of 80s schlock. Like it fits in there. Yeah, it fits in there for sure.
Okay.
I also watched a movie called Slacks on Shudder.
Slacks. Oh, I saw like the little preview thing for this on Shudder the other night. I read the description and I was like, this sounds ridiculous. How was it?
It's fun. I mean, fun. There's some heavy darkness to it for sure, but also
really,
yeah. Also, it's a horror comedy, but it's got some like heavy dark elements because of the subject matter, which is
isn't it about haunted pants?
It is about haunted pants, but it's basically like it's about the fashion industry and where our clothes come from and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that kind of puts a different spin on it because I read the little description. It was like, yeah, haunted pants, and I was like, this sounds stupid. I'm on board.
Yeah, no, it's got that going for sure. Like all of that is there, and then some. Like the pants eat people. That's insane. It's awesome. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and it also does have like a solid sort of message about where our clothes come from and things like that. So I recommend Slacks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And I mean, there's a dance scene, like a Bollywood dance scene of the pants dancing.
I'm on board with this.
Yeah. So I don't know if I needed to sell it anymore, but that's there. So check that out. I also checked out the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I won't talk much about, but looks like it's the type of thing I wanted it to be, like a sort of espionage thriller type of thing. So that's gonna be fun.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, I saw the other day, I think it was advertised on Facebook or something, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm sitting here like, did they change something in the Matrix? Is this a Mandela effect thing? I didn't know this was happening. I had no idea they were doing a show about them. I totally missed this.
Yeah, there are a bunch of shows announced that you might. You know Loki's coming out, right?
No.
Like a show about Loki? Okay. Well,
where have I been?
Where have you been? All right. They also have shows announced, one for She-Hulk.
Okay, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming from Marvel if you're into the Marvel stuff. If you're not, maybe you're into the DC stuff, Ben.
Oh yeah, maybe I am, and I have, all day to kill watching a movie. Oh yeah, I did that. You know what? Maybe that's why I missed all the news about these shows and stuff. It's because I was watching the Justice League Snyder Cut, and it took up a year of my life.
Yeah. Dude, let me just tell you my experience, because your experience is going to be much more about the movie. Because I only got 12 minutes in, and I'm gonna finish it, but it feels like it's gonna take me a month. Why does this exist?
Wait, what do you mean? Why does it exist that a guy got to make a movie, got it, shit on by basically everybody, and then was able to take a couple years and be like, this is what I really wanted to make with all those considerations that you gave me in mind. So I reshot a bunch of stuff and changed a bunch of stuff. This probably wasn't the movie that he really wrote, but I get to do it over. So there.
Okay, so think about this. Just think about this. Let's just say that Return of the King came out and sucked.
Yeah.
And then Peter Jackson, several years later, was like, no, you didn't get my vision, and then released the extended edition. Now, here's the thing. This is why I use this. Because there are a ton of people who hate Return of the King. Because they say it's too long.
Morons.
They say it's boring, and there are too many endings. Making it longer doesn't fix that.
No.
So making Justice League longer didn't fix most of the problems with Justice League that everybody already had.
Mm-hmm.
It does, from what I've heard of other people's reviews, and maybe you can say this for sure, it does allow for more character development, but who the fuck couldn't develop characters more with 2 extra hours?
Yeah, shocker, right?
You would have to be the worst film director of all time to have a 4-hour window of opportunity and not be able to develop the characters more. Like, this was an unasked for thing that insists on itself. It's like, I should exist. And then it's also in 4:3.
Yeah, the aspect is weird. Like, why?
What the fuck? This is the biggest troll in the history of trolls. A $70 million troll. Stay tuned next week for a much more nuanced, much better take on the Snyder Cut from me, Hollywood Steve.
Dude, for real, man. And I'll tell you this. I never watched the original cut. I never saw it.
I don't remember it at all. I watched the whole thing.
Well, Kate watched it one time, I think while I was on tour or something, and I just remember getting texts from her being like, man, yeah, this movie sucks. Don't even waste your time watching it. And so I was going into it completely clean slate because I'd never seen the original. I just sat down to watch this 4-hour-long movie, which I'll say this, okay, because of the way that it's divided up, you could watch it in installments. It's like chapters,
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, you could sit down and watch this 40-minute chapter tonight and then watch the next 40-minute chapter tomorrow. And we debated about doing that because it just took all fucking day to watch this movie.
Yeah.
We debated about being like, maybe we just stop it and come back later. But then Kate was like, if we stop this movie, we will never pick it back up. And I was like, that's absolutely true. Yeah, like, there's no way.
That's pretty much how I feel I'll probably end up, because when they started singing in Icelandic to Aquaman as he dove into the ocean, I was like, I don't know if this was in the original, but if it was in the original, I guarantee I paused right here and was like, what the fuck is happening?
It has, I think, the most heavy-handed soundtrack I've ever heard in a movie. Like, if you thought that Suicide Squad was on the nose, yeah, really, right? He's known for subtlety, especially with soundtracks. Like, dude, I thought that Suicide Squad was the most on the nose fucking soundtrack ever. This blows it out of the water. Like, the soundtrack might as well be people singing, Aquaman is going to the ocean and he's sad. Hey, Wonder Woman, what you doing over here? It's just like, god damn, it is so fucking heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. And it takes so long to watch, man. 4 hours. And I'll tell you this too, man. The movie easily could have been, I'm gonna say, 45 minutes shorter if every other fucking scene wasn't in fucking slow motion. The whole movie is in slow motion, dude. And the thing about it is like, I get it. It's a superhero movie. It needs to be stylized. And especially, with scenes where, like, the Flash is doing Flash stuff. Yeah, of course the world needs to be in slow motion to show you how quick he's moving and stuff. But it makes so much less impact when you just watched a scene of fucking Wonder Woman eating a hamburger in slow motion. Like, why did that need to be slow? God damn, dude. I'm serious. They could have cut 30 to 40 minutes off of the fucking thing if they wouldn't have done everything in slow-mo. It was like almost like a parody of itself, man.
The one thing that okay, so this came out and, people were talking about it and most people were like, I can't believe I'm watching this long-ass fucking movie. But the one thing that actually came of all this weekend that really shined a light for me for DC in the future is that they announced a Zatanna movie directed by the director of Promising Young Woman. So
okay.
Zatanna is much more interesting. As we've said in the past, they probably should move past these old fogey characters that aren't. Zatanna is going to be, delving into the dark areas of DC universe and the magic and stuff like that. So that's gonna widen the universe and hopefully make it more interesting. And I hope it's also less. I mean, I say dark. Zatanna is still like a fun character. Like, I hope it's still fun.
Yeah. DC has a way of making a lot of their properties just completely
not fun.
Joyless.
Yeah. Entirely joyless. Yeah. That is the one thing that I loved about Justice League was Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller really brings something to...
Yes, I agree with that, man.
Yeah, and I would love to see a Flash movie. That would be great.
It's also, too, considering how recently we just did We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah.
It's such a testament to how awesome of an actor he is that I saw him through this whole 4-hour movie and I was never creeped out by him once. Like, there's a lot of those actors. Like, I remember even after we saw like Elijah Wood in Sin City, as was his name Kevin in that? It might have been.
Oh, but it was,
the creepy cannibal kid.
Yeah,
And it like tainted other things I saw him in where I was like, oh my God, I can't shake, that creepy role that he did.
Right.
Ezra Miller is such a powerhouse actor that like, it really shows you how good of a job he does with any role he's given.
Yeah. No, he's been great in everything I've seen him in. He's awesome, and he really does just like inhabit the role. So yeah, it's good that being Kevin didn't infect his performance as the Flash, because that would have been weird.
I will say though, man, like one positive about this movie, and I know a lot of people don't share this opinion, but I was happy to see more Ben Affleck Batman Bruce Wayne. I think that he does a great job. I think that he is honestly a good Batman, a good Bruce Wayne, and I love the costume design. So I was happy just to have more of him as Batman, because I don't think we're getting any more, right?
I don't think so. Yeah. I think that's
the thing, dude. Okay, so, watching this movie and get to see all the cool Batman stuff that was in there, it was like, okay, great. I enjoy this part of it at least. But then you've also got the fact that DC is doing the next Batman movie with what's his name? Robert Pattinson. That is unrelated to this universe at all. It's like a side pocket universe.
Yeah.
And they're also going to make another Batman movie that is a part of this universe.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be fucking confused, and it's not going to make any sense. You remember whenever Joker came out, and they're like, "How does this tie into Batman Begins?" And it's like,
right.
It's not related to that. They're going to have that same problem 10 times over because they're doing it with their biggest fucking property.
Yeah, I think they should probably stop trying to duplicate the MCU and just make their movies.
How about that?
Yeah. I mean, you can tie them together if you want or not. Like, it's fine. I'm cool with that. I'd rather see something new and interesting than, just trying to duplicate the success of the Avengers. Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, and again, Suicide Squad was, I hoped, going to be that whenever it came out, and then it wasn't. But that Harley Quinn movie does a pretty good job of being completely different than the rest of the DC movies. It wasn't my favorite, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
I hope that you sit down and watch the whole flick sometime so you can give me your full thoughts on it and stuff. It's tough, and honestly, like, there were several points while we were watching it that I was like, I don't feel like I'm watching a Justice League movie. I feel like we're marathoning DCU movies all day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Because it's 3 movies, right? Like, it's cut into 3 parts, and that is...
Oh, no, it's cut into, like, fucking, 7 chapters. It's like a bunch of chapters.
Holy
and an
shit.
epilogue that is, like, seriously twice as long as the ending of Return of the King. Absolutely. There's a whole, 15 minutes in an alternate universe during the epilogue, dude.
Well, that's good. That's what you need. That's what you need,
yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, did you watch anything else other than the Snyder Cut, or was that taking up your whole week?
Well, it did take up a significant portion of my week to watch that movie, but yeah, I did have some time to watch some other things in there as well. If you guys listened to last week's Psycho Gorman episode, you'll know from the intro there that our good buddy Brandon Suttles passed away a few days ago as the time of recording this. And the week before he passed away from cancer is when the hospital he was staying in lifted up their visitation protocol, because previously, up until a week or so ago, it was only his wife could go and see him, but they opened it up to where he could have one visitor at a time. So myself and Kate separately both went down there as many times as we could to hang out with Brandon and spend time with him, which I'm So fucking thankful that I did, man. Because the last night that I got to spend with Brandon, my dear buddy, while he was still with us, was doing something that we had done hundreds of times over the long time period that we've known each other, which was watching a movie. He had a bunch of movies and stuff on his iPad. I pulled up a chair next to the hospital bed, and we watched his newest obsession, the movie that had maybe even overtaken Magnolia as his favorite flick of all time, in his words. We watched Black Narcissus, which is a 1947 movie that
about
Brandon just got. It's about some nuns, and they going crazy. It's nuns gone wild atop this mountain.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen it?
No, I have read about it. I have not seen it.
You should fucking watch it, man. It had a lot of elements in there that reminded me of The Devils.
Okay.
You know, where it's like, man, this feels...
right.
Yeah, where you're watching it and you're like, man, especially for the time period, for like 1947, this seems pretty risque and like sacrilegious at times. And dude, it's gorgeous. Holy shit. It is a gorgeous ass movie. And the use of matte paintings and stuff in the flick, you won't believe. It's some of the most ambitious and convincing matte painting work ever, because apparently basically the whole thing was like shot in studio, but you'll swear it was just filmed in the fucking Himalayas or something.
Okay.
Really, really cool. I enjoyed it very much, man, and you know, I'll always enjoy that memory of getting to watch one more flick with Brandon, so that made it even more important for me. Later on in the week, we watched a couple other things. We watched Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit.
Back in the Habit. Now, this is where she's successfully taught these nuns how to not be boring as hell when they sing. And she has escaped the criminal element. And now she coaches a NBA basketball team? Or is that a different... What is that?
She coaches a singing group. She helps them sing their way to the top.
Does she partner up with a dinosaur in this one? I think I've seen it.
It's the one where she partners up with a dinosaur. It's that one right there. That's right.
I do not remember Sister Act 2 at all.
Man, it's probably better than you're remembering it. It was a good old fun time.
I just haven't seen it. So what happened? I really do not remember the story.
Yeah, no, she helps a singing group that's like a high school choir kind of thing.
Okay.
Lead them to the top of their championship. So it's kind of like a high school musical singing movie in a lot of ways.
Okay. I can kind of vaguely remember it now. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. Do I need to rewatch it? Is it awesome?
Oh, yeah, you do. And it's also just like early 90s as fuck, man. So it's got that going for it as well. I would recommend it. It was a fun time. We enjoyed it.
Awesome.
We were in the kitchen all day the other day making a huge pot of jambalaya, which turned out delicious, and we needed something nice to have on the TV full of attractive people while we had the windows open and the stove firing up and drinking cold beers.
Yeah.
So we put on The Mummy, which I maintain is a good time, man. It's like if Pirates of the Caribbean mixed with Indiana Jones, you'd kind of end up with The Mummy, and I'm very okay with that.
I mean, you really went out on a limb saying you like The Mummy. There are people out there who base their entire sexuality on The Mummy. Come on.
I did see this. Yeah. I get it too, man. Like everybody in the movie is just a
bunch of
Stone
good-looking
Cold
people
smoke show
for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think I've seen The Mummy within the past few years and still enjoyed it. It's still a fun time.
Oh yeah.
It's that CGI is the best, right? It's like your favorite.
It's the best ever. Yeah, it won awards for the best CGI ever. So you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
The accolades are there.
Yeah.
It looks pretty bad at times. It's really bad at times.
Like, yeah, it's just a fun romp. It's got all the things you like. It's got Egypt. It's got like live the sarcophagus embalmingness that never happened in Egypt.
So that's what you know.
It's got bugs, lots of bugs, all the things, man.
Yeah, what else do you need in life?
Oh,
man?
and also, a bunch of pretty people. That Rachel Weisz. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah, she's great, man.
Yeah.
And we also watched through the South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut, because especially after the events of the week, we were just like, let's just go with something that we know that is fun and
Going
funny and a
pure
guaranteed
90s.
good time.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, Bigger, Longer, Uncut still holds up. That movie is fucking hilarious. I've seen it a million times, and I'm still like dying laughing at certain parts. And then also, like, you remember the words to every song.
Yeah.
The music is fantastic in it.
Mhm.
So good, man. Just a good time.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in quite a while, but it's yeah, I do remember the music all the time. Like
Oh yeah.
I have it on a disc in my car for a CD player. A CD player,
my.
Ben.
A CD.
Yeah. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of these. Is that a compact disc?
Yeah, the disc is compact, and on it there are songs. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I'm so glad that the CD won out over the NCD, the non-compact disc. Those things were like 10 feet across. They were not compact at all. It's like, how are people ever going to use these things on a daily basis? It needs to be compact.
Have you ever seen, there were like attempts at putting record players into cars back in the day.
Yeah, I've seen that. I bet it worked great.
insane. Yeah, I bet it was awesome. Driving around in like a 1950s just boat. Everything you hit makes the car just shake like crazy.
Well, the thing about that is that entire concept, the thing that really stands out to me is that was the result of like some auto manufacturer guy driving around with his family in his car and being just that desperate to not listen to these fucking kids screaming in the backseat while I'm trying to drive the car.
Everything developed in the 40s and 50s was because some man was just tired of...
Just tired. Just leave it at that.
He was just like, oh, it's so hard being a white man. Ah.
I'm so desperate, I'll stick a record player in here. It's gotta be bad, man.
Yeah, I cannot imagine living in that time in any way. Like, what form of life would you want to be in the good old days? Like, wouldn't it just be terrible every single day? It seems like it would suck.
It might. It very well might, man. But you know what I hope doesn't suck? Slamming a code beer in my face.
Code
It's
beer code?
6:18 p.m. as we record this right now. You know how long it's been since I drank a code beer? Too long, I say.
Too long, and I'm excited for this one.
What do we got, Steve?
It's a Tiki Bird from Bearded Iris, and
Wait, it's a beaky turd?
a Beaky Turd from Bearded Iris. And RDM gave these to us, right?
That's right, the notorious RDM himself. He made a quick trip down to Knoxville a week or so ago, and he dropped off some code beers for me in the parking lot, and I got them to you, and we're going to drink on this thing today. Now, there is a word of caution here. I'm pouring it into the glass right now, and it looks okay, because Roger's been hanging on to these and setting them back for a while, for over a year at this point. And it does have lactose in this particular beer. So if we take a sip and it's like weird sour, that's the thing. How do you know when like a sour has gone sour?
Yeah,
Like,
the sour tastes sour.
Sour.
I think you would know.
It looks fine.
Yeah, because lactose, when it goes sour, tastes more biley. So if it tastes like bile, bad. If it doesn't taste like bile, good.
This is an imperial fruited sour with pomegranate, peach, mango, and lactose from Bearded Iris. It has 8% alcohol in there. Pretty strong for a sour, huh?
Yeah. I'm excited for this because I love me a sour, and I love 8% alcohol. So let's see how this goes.
To RDM, our beer man on the inside. Hopefully this is really good. Let's find out about it. What's that do to you? Is it good?
Yeah. It just tastes like juice, baby.
Ooh, man. Oh. Yeah, this is definitely not gone
No, it tastes
rancid
good.
or sour.
It tastes very good.
Yeah, and it's not crazy sour, honestly.
No.
Like, it's like sour how biting into ripe fresh fruit is sometimes sour.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, pomegranate, peach, and mango, they all can have a little bit of a sour bite to it. And this is, yeah, you're right. It's not.
That's good.
It's not very much sour. It's mostly just tastes like delicious juice.
Yeah, it's like nectar. It's like a little bit of that peach nectar kind of backbone that balances out the sourness that you get from the pomegranate and the mango.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the lactose isn't super upfront. I was wondering if this is going to be like milkshakey, creamy, which there are some sours that have that are good.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's got maybe the consistency of a Sunny D, but not like not creamy tasting, just kind of little bit thicker.
What is it about the sour beer world that can mask high amounts of alcohol, like no matter what the content is? I had I think it was I can't remember which company made it, but there's that one that I had at Merchants of Beer last year that was like a 14% like pineapple coconut sour.
Ooh.
And you literally could not taste any alcohol in it at all. I guess there's just something in our sour taste bud receptors that overwhelms the booze taste, I guess. I
think one might say that essentially you're drinking a fermented canned version of a super sweet cocktail.
In a way, yeah. And this has a good like tiki cocktail kind of taste to it too.
Yeah, it's like you're getting all that with less sugar. You're still getting tons of carbs. I mean, you're not skipping the carbs, but less sugar at the very least. I imagine you could have a few of these and not wake up the next day feeling like dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
Those sugary drinks will definitely lay you out.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, no, this is really good. I'm a fan of this. Way to go, Bearded Iris. Always just nailing it.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee represent. Find some at your local grocer today. Now, Steve, this movie that we're talking about today is Lake Mungo.
Lake Mungo.
And this is somewhat of a ghost story.
You were really scared of that ghost.
I was really scared. I mean, honestly, yes. I was extremely scared of that fucking ghost. Oh, my God. I can't wait to talk about this thing. But, it really got me thinking. Whenever we pass into the great beyond, into the great unknown, after we perish, what kind of ghost are we going to become anyway?
Yeah, I need to know about this.
There's got to be somebody we can consult.
We could probably, we haven't done this in a while, but we could probably consult those witches and wizards over at BuzzFeed.
Ooh, do you want to consult their powerful magics? Are you sure that's a good idea?
I mean, listen, I've already got the bird guts scattered out here, and they say... Go for it.
All right, well, we might as well as we enter into the Preview Palace.
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
And we're going to find out, if you died and became a ghost, what kind of ghost would you be? This is a quiz by BuzzFeed wizard in Mexico, Louis de Valle. He's French. I don't know why I decided that spontaneously, but yes, that was awesome. He is French.
I did not expect it to go that way, so yeah.
Let me ask you, in advance, what kind of ghost do you think you're going to be? If you had your druthers, what kind of ghost would you be?
What kind of ghost would I be? I would, I'd be the ghost that tells you my story, like, super, warmly and whatnot. Like, you come in and you're like, oh... Who are you? And I'm like, just sit down and let me tell you my tale. But then by the end of the tale, you become a ghostly white as you see my head fall from my spectral body. Or whatever.
So you spook them at the end. You start off all like the ghost of Christmas past. Come in and know me better. And then you're like, my head's off, JK.
Uh-huh, exactly. And then they're like, oh, shit. What about you? What do you think you're going to be?
I want to be Slimer Ghost. I just want to, like, zip around, make messes, and eat all the food. I want to eat the food, right?
Just shoving hot dogs in your mouth. Boy, that sounds great.
I know. I think that sounds great. And, I was wondering about this, too. Again, our good buddy Brandon just passed away. Brandon, if you're listening right now, if your presence is here, and you become a ghost, and I wake up in the middle of the night, and I see a shadowy figure in the doorway... Brandon, I just want you to bust out a little bone, 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 bone. See you at the crossroads, and I'll be like, Brandon.
Aww.
I want to be haunted by rapping Brandon Ghost.
That would be great.
I think he would like that. I know that I would like that. He's just doing what he liked to do on Earth. for all eternity.
You know, I wonder, those hot dog eating competitions.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the hot dog eating world go by Slimer? Like, that seems like...
Boy, they should. Yeah.
That's like the most intimidating name in the hot dog eating world. That dude can slam them down.
Put them away, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Those contests gross me out. Just by the way, man. God, the marathon pooping that has to happen after those. Oh.
It is gross. Just dipping the bread in water. Ugh.
Dude, and the thing is they're pounding those hot dogs, which are like full of nitrites and nitrates and stuff, just like class 1 carcinogens and stuff. That has to be very fucking bad for you.
I can't imagine it's good for you. No.
Ugh.
It's
ghastly.
Not a field I'd like to participate in.
All right, let's find out here, Steve.
So let's pick a classic horror film from the list here.
Ooh, some of my favorites on here.
What do you see there, Ben?
We've got The Shining, The Exorcist, Curry, The Evil Dead, Suspiria, and Rosemary's Baby. Those are 6 of the most classic, and we have done all of those on our podcast.
Yes, we have. Yeah, they're all very solid and great. Which one would you pick?
I'm gonna have to pick The Shining. I mean, I kind of want to like pick Suspiria just to be the wild card, but if I'm being honest with myself, The Shining, that's my number 1 ever, so I can't deny it. What about you?
And I'm gonna go with The Evil Dead.
Yeah,
classic, one of my absolute faves from childhood.
Can't beat that one. All right, Steve, how would you describe yourself? A people person, a family guy, a drama queen, a pain in the neck, someone who lives on the edge,
right,
or a boner. Wait, a loner. A loner boner.
Boner, I was going to say. That's me. Boy, how would I describe myself? I kind of a drama queen. I'll say a drama queen.
Sticking in that DQ, huh?
Yeah, I'm a drama queen, I guess.
All right. I have my moments as well.
Here, I was like, a people person. It's in quotes, which makes me think it's ironic, and it's like, I'll go with the drama queen.
That works, man. That works.
You know how I love the drama? I'm like, oh boy, the thing, the stuff. Have you guys heard?
Yeah, you're proving your passion right now. Yeah, it's very eloquent.
Spill the tea, I'll say.
The smiling mask and the frowning mask. I love those. Drama. Right? You're always talking about those.
Uta Hagen. Am I right, guys? Huh? Stanislavski.
Yeah.
Etc.
You definitely emphasize your passion for something when you just say etc. at the end of the sentence.
People know,
sure.
like, oh, he's got
he
more to
drama.
say. He just doesn't want to bore us with the thing he loves so much.
Wow, hence the etc.
So what about you, Ben? How would you describe yourself?
You know what? I have moments of all of these. I definitely have my drama queen moment, but I'm going to say generally, I'm kind of a pain in the neck, if I'm going to be honest, Steve. I just don't know how good I am at personing sometimes. So
I'm the worst
sometimes
at it.
I'm just a pain in the neck.
I am 100% terrible at personing. Pick a new it says pick a new, relatively new horror movie. All right.
Lost in that French translation that Louis did here. Pick a new, relatively new horror movie is nouveau horror. I am in Mexico.
He's so French, this guy. We got Hereditary.
This Mexican climate is ruining my wine, he says.
What?
I don't know.
That's how French he is.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got Hereditary, The Babadook, It Follows, The Conjuring, Suspiria, the remake, and The Vavitch.
Oh my God. Also some of our favorites. So we've done all of these on the show as well.
Uh-huh. So which one would you pick, Ben?
Man, Hereditary was the life ruiner. That's like up there with The Shining for me. Hereditary really just rocked my fucking socks. Although, I mean, God, I love The Witch and stuff, but I'm going to go with Hereditary.
Yeah, for me, there's all of these are... The Conjuring, I would not choose.
No.
The others I could pick either of them, but The Witch is one of my absolute favorites. So
man, it's
going
so
with The Witch.
good. Good choice, man. Good choice. I've been really wanting to watch that Saint Maud. A lot of people are telling me it kind of has witch vibes to it.
Looks interesting. I gotta get on that.
Now, the next question here, Steve, did not make the translation cut. ¿Qué es lo que más disfrutarías de ser un fantasma? I think it's saying, what would you do if you were a ghost?
What would you enjoy most about being a ghost? I have it in English. I'll read it for you.
You have it in English, really?
Yeah.
God damn. Well, hey, I'm at least pleased that I was right because mine is in Spanish, and I think that's what it means, and that's close enough.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, though, my options are in English.
Okay, so you do have the options. Okay, go ahead and read them then.
Makes no sense, man. Okay, our options here in our life as a phantasma, being invisible, observing people's lives, being nosy. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that there's life after death, my heart will go on.
Okay.
Haunting my enemies, that's pretty hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Stirring up drama, that might be for you, DQ.
Yeah.
Don't want no drama. Or all the eavesdropping.
Dropping them eaves.
You gonna drop an eve on them?
Well, I mean, knowing that there's life after death, it seems like it's like a cool knowledge to have, unless just being a ghost is just like, you're just a ghost every day. So it's like, well, then the knowledge is shitty, right? Like,
I think so, yeah.
Oh, wait, so this is it? Fuck.
Huh.
Yeah, so nobody wants that. I think just being invisible, like, being able to go anywhere would be great, though I assume ghost rules are you're stuck for whatever reason on property lines. Don't know how ghosts know where the property line's in, but you're stuck on this property.
It's a good point. How do they know where the property line is? And also, if they have the land resurveyed and they change the property lines, does the ghosts, boundaries change too?
I also imagine, like, houses used to be built to last longer. The idea was that the house is meant to be around for a long time. Houses aren't meant to last as long now. So, like, if that house is the one you're haunting, it could get bulldozed and another house is built. Like, what happens then? I am not sure of ghost rules, but I know I'm picking being invisible because it's the least complicated to me.
Well, the thing about it is too is like, according to all our typical ghost rules, shouldn't hospitals be like haunted as fuck?
Yes, they'd be the most haunted. That's where most people die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What gives?
I don't know. What would you pick?
Man, there's some options here because if you were invisible, I don't know. If you're going to be invisible, are you going to like watch people poop and stuff?
Well, that's the thing is I was thinking being invisible would be cool because I could just not make my presence felt at all. If I wanted to not. Because, like, just imagine the people that live at your house, like, most people are pretty boring. Right? Like,
yeah.
So you could just not interact with them. That'd be cool. And then maybe a cool person moves in and you're like, oh, cool, I'll knock this face over or something.
Do something fun for them, huh?
Spice up life.
Let me ask you this, too. Do you think that a lot of, like, ghosts are just bored and frustrated as shit during COVID because the people are just staying in the house all the time? Do you think they're, like, getting sick of them?
I normally get to walk around and do whatever I want while you're gone.
Yeah, but you're always fucking here and you're always ordering the pizza. It's pizza again? You're going to become a ghost soon.
Quarantine has been hard on ghosts, and y'all don't think about that. Y'all don't want to have that conversation. That's the problem, you see.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, that's the real silent majority. Ghosts.
It is. They are absolutely the majority.
Oh, there's way more of them than us, dude.
Yeah. Fuck, man. If ghosts ever organize, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to go with all the eavesdropping, Steve, because...
You'll be dropping some eaves.
Oh,
okay.
Man, that's one of my favorite parts of living in the city, dude. There was a couple out on the street corner last night having a big old couples argument.
Oh.
And they were going after it.
Just like, from an outside perspective, it's like, what are you arguing about?
Yeah, dude. And it was so fun just to like open the window up a little bit and just sit by it and listen in. It was just fun. Yeah, all the eavesdropping, that's exactly what I would do.
Okay.
All right, Steve, I need you to pick a place to haint after you die.
Where
if
am I
you're
going to
be
haint?
a booger for all eternity, you got to be booging somewheres or another, right?
It's true. You do.
Because the booger's gonna boog, 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 boog. Haint it off. Haint it off.
T-Swift, you owe us for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
Trademark that
she's
lovely.
going to use it this Halloween now. She's going to be like, I just came up with this on my own. No, you didn't.
That's right. And then the next record is going to be about breaking up with Dead and Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We suck as boyfriends. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be called I Cast Them Away. People will be like, oh, it's cast because it was a podcast. It's
Get
that
it?
out.
Get it?
Oh. All right, Steve, are you going to booger it up at a cemetery? Hey, a hospital. They actually gave us the option for a hospital.
Oh, okay.
A mansion,
Right.
an amusement park,
Hmm.
a winding road.
Oh, so every day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
'Cause every day is a
according to one
winding
Sheryl
road.
Crow. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to haint an abandoned factory?
Don't see the lure there. I mean, it's obviously either a mansion or an amusement park if you want to have any sort of influence on the world of the living, right? Because that's where people are gonna be.
True.
But boy, a winding road sounds like it'd be fun, right? Just walk out every once in a while, like, hey, they're like, oh fuck,
Yeah, real fun.
be careful going down that road. They'll say.
Gold on that road.
Hey, one would prefer perhaps to take another road. Is that the line?
That's the one.
Yep. What about you, Ben?
I'm going to go with that amusement park. I think that sounds fun because
Yeah.
the thing is like if I was hating that mansion, I'd be around the same people all the time. Maybe some new people move in that I can't stand being
And they're
around.
rich.
Oh,
They're
my
boring.
God, the worst. Yeah, they're going to be really boring. And
Unless they're the type
yeah.
of rich people that have like wild parties and orgies and stuff.
yeah, and they like, hunt people and stuff like that.
Well,
I think it'd be cool.
yeah. Yeah, I could see I could see how being a ghost in a mansion where they're having orgies, like you could probably get involved, right? Like ghost orgy is what I'm saying.
That
like,
could happen.
I mean, we know Anna Nicole fell for a ghost, so
That's true. Mm-hmm.
and she was rich, so
Do you want some money?
trim spot baby.
But yeah, that amusement park, I think I'm always going to get a new influx of people coming in and out. There's going to be some great eavesdropping in there. So, and if I'm a Slimer ghost, I can eat all the funnel cakes and hot dogs that I can stand.
Good call. You really chained it together there. That works.
Thank you.
That works well.
Yeah, trying to reach my goals.
Finally, last question. What do you think it'll be like when you die?
Woo, man, this is kind of relevant for the movie.
Yeah, it is. I'll be surrounded by people I love. All right. I'm not sure, but I think I'll die from an illness. What? All right.
Ooh, that's fun.
It'll be very sad. Everyone will be upset.
Everyone, literally everyone.
Wow. Quietly. What? These answers they're all over the place.
They think different in France and Mexico.
Yep. It'll be for a cause I believe in. All right. Or violently.
Oh, man.
What a bummer of a final question.
Yeah, this is kind of leaving us on a low note here, huh?
Oh boy. Well, so what do you think, Ben? How are you gonna die?
You know,
violently.
I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna go total just egomaniac here and just say it'll be sad. Everyone will be upset.
Literally
I'm just,
everyone.
You know what? Yeah, everyone, the entire world, everybody.
Disliked that.
That's right. Yep, it'll get no likes on Facebook. People be like, I don't
Zero
know how I feel
likes.
about giving it the like or the thumbs up. It seems like I'm saying I like that he died, and I'm not gonna do that.
No,
So
zero likes.
Cry react, I guess.
I'm gonna go with violently just for fun.
All right.
All right. So what did you get, Ben?
Dude, I'm gonna apparently be a grieving ghost. You'll spend your days as a ghost grieving and groaning, probably because the circumstances of your death will be pretty tragic.
Wow.
We have a feeling there's a huge betrayal involved, which will explain why you'll end up just dedicating all of eternity to crying it out, Vive la France.
That's La France,
a bummer.
It says. That's weird.
Yeah, man. He's standing up for what he believes in. So.
All right. So you're going to be just weeping and wailing, huh?
It sounds like I'm an emo ghost. I'm just going to be, ooh.
So you're basically Davy Stranger as a ghost.
Yeah, that works. I'll take it.
That does make sense. That does make sense. I'm going to be a tormented ghost.
Oh, shit, dude.
You'll be a ghost who's tormented by decisions made during life and who's unable to move on from them. Okay, yeah, that's probably true. That just sounds like anxiety ghost.
I was going to say, this sounds like, anxiety ghost to me, too.
Yeah. As a result, you end up causing a lot of panic and destruction amongst the living. All right. Collateral damage
drama.
as you try to work out your trauma, but it's not like you really want to cause harm. You just have to figure out how to meet a serious exorcist or even just a very sympathetic human who can help you find some peace. So,
wow. I'm glad they gave you instructions, though, where it's like, if this happens, here's your way out.
I'm going to just, I guess, post this on all the dating sites. Ghost looking for serious exorcist.
Not a casual exorcist at all.
Yeah, no, listen, don't come at me like, I'll throw some exorcist water at you or whatever. Like, no, I want the real shit. I want the real shit.
Well, that was enlightening, man. I was really hoping that I would get to be, total gorge ghost and just eat my way through eternity, but
that would have been awesome. Yeah, you really gave the good Slimer answers. Like, it should have been haunting an amusement park, eating all the funnel cake, and children loving you.
I think so. And just having a dip dog whenever I please.
Dip dog.
Dip dog, that's right. All right, Steve, never mind that shit. Here comes Mungo. It's time to talk about Lake Mungo, which I am so struggling to see how this is any kind of a sequel to Lake Placid. I'm just not getting it.
I think it's a prequel is the thing.
Okay.
They don't mention it, but the thing that drowned her was a giant alligator.
Mystery solved, because that was my biggest question really coming away from this movie is like, well, how did she drown?
Yeah.
Duh.
Giant
fucking
alligator.
Giant alligator. Makes all the sense in the world now. I see it, man. The giant alligator's first victim caught on tape.
And Betty White defends this motherfucker?
Come on. Yeah, right.
Come on,
Yeah,
Betty.
This movie came out in 2008, and from everything I understand about it, didn't really cause too great of a stir when it came out, but this is one of those ones that was really kept alive and made popular by, like, people reviewing it on YouTube and stuff, and film critics on YouTube being like, no, really, fucking watch this movie. And that kind of, like,
need to see it.
Saved it from obscurity. And I had never seen this movie. You drew it out of the Patreon pick Smokin' Bowl last week, and you said, we're doing Lake Mungo. And I was like, I remember hearing about that. I remember people in the group saying that we should watch it, but I know nothing about it. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't read anything. I just hit play and watched it for what it was. And that made it, to me anyway, so much better. But the funny thing is in my head, I thought that this was like a true crime movie. I think I was confusing it with Wolf Creek, which is about like the backpack murders, right?
Right. Well, loosely based on,
Loosely, yeah. I thought that it was that. So when this started and it's like, no, it's like a documentary ghost story about this family dealing with grief and stuff, I was like, oh, this is definitely not what I thought this was, and just watched it with a clean slate. And I was fucking floored, man. I think this movie is really, really amazing, and I want to talk about it. What did you know about this flick going into it, and had you ever seen it before?
No, hadn't seen it. This was, I went into it completely cold. And, it's one of those movies that, I understand why people are kicking up a fuss about it, trying to get people to watch it, because it's got some unique elements to it, but it really is just like, it plays out in such a realistic fashion and feels so real in a way that you really want from horror movies. That feeling of like, oh God, this could happen to me, type of thing that hits when a horror movie is really just dialed in to exactly what scares us as people.
Oh yeah, and that can be super effective whenever you're doing it in the, mockumentary / found footage kind of genre, which unfortunately rarely happens because, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I think the first Cloverfield is a cool movie, but it never feels real. I never see that big CGI alien and I'm like, wow, this feels like it's really happening. Of course you don't. You can tell it's fake. Mm-hmm. This thing, though, and a couple other found footage things that we've done on the show, man, it really, really, really is effective. This just feels like you're watching a documentary. In fact, I have seen way more documentaries of crazy stories of shit that's happened to people that seem more far-fetched than this.
Yeah. I think a lot of the issue people tend to have with these fake documentary horror movies is generally that either it looks too good, like that's not how it would look if a documentary crew was having to shoot this spontaneous event in the woods or whatever, or that the documentary filmmakers are way more involved than any documentary filmmaker would ever be. Like they're directly influencing all of the events. And this doesn't fall into those pits. This just really feels like a documentary. Like they use so many different like film formats and stuff that like give it that feel of like, okay, this is news footage and this is cell phone footage and this is like home footage and these are different cameras for home footage. Like all of it feels so much more like an actual documentary where they're piecing together all these different elements. And then all of the interviews feel really natural. Probably because there was no written dialogue for this movie.
That's mind-blowing. I read that and I was like completely floored because, yeah, they were just kind of like script prompts.
Yeah.
And then these all unknown actors who they deliberately chose because they're unknown and makes it feel more real are somehow just fucking master improvisers that delivered this stuff in such a natural, realistic way. Like, dude, one of the things I like about the performances in this movie is that they're reserved.
Yes.
Because whenever you put somebody on camera and you're like, hey, talk about grief, talk about how your kid died, like, I think in a fake documentary, it would be really easy for them to overact and fucking go for that Oscar and all that stuff. But in real life, people get kind of reserved whenever they're on camera talking about this stuff. They want to appear composed and in control of their emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way that everybody in this movie, from the parents to the, to the son, Matthew, to the friends that they interview, everybody is like a little bit reserved, and that makes it more realistic to me. The performances are, in my opinion, fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I was really surprised by it because, the idea that you're going to use relatively unknown actors is good in theory, but then you also have to find relatively unknown actors who are just really, really good and for some reason unknown. So yeah, that's got to be. Seems like it would be tough, but they nailed it with so many people. Like, it has that documentary thing where there's so many people involved, like different police, different investigators and things, like the psychic guy, the people that are just friends with the family, like just so many different characters, and to know that like so many of them are having to give these really like tough performances, like Fred, his the dad's co-worker who's on
Frederick,
he's got a real tough character to try to pull off. Georgie, the same. Like, some of the supporting characters are these real tough characters to pull off, especially knowing they had to improvise them and still be interesting while still getting out exposition. Like, it's absolutely nuts. And as we said, feels so much like an actual documentary that obviously they're nailing it.
Yeah, totally, man. I think if I was on the set of this, I would just be constantly being like, why aren't you famous? Like, your acting is insane.
Right.
Why aren't you famous yet, man? Yeah, like, this entire movie feels like, okay, to me, it feels like if you managed to get David Lynch to direct an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it obviously takes some inspiration from Twin Peaks.
Sure.
Because we have an Alice Palmer, the Palmer name, like Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks. She also has this secret life, much like Laura Palmer did, and it's a tragic death with a lot of mystery to it and things, but also a lot of nothing, I would say, entirely quirky. Like, nothing in here ever gets silly or quirky, but
right.
very dreamlike at times, and I mean, tons and tons of dreams and visions and things being talked about.
Yeah, and even some of like the B-roll stuff that they filmed of, like, you know, the slow camera pans through the house and things reminded me a lot of like Mulholland Drive, where you're like, you just have this sense of dread where it's like there's nothing on screen, it's just a camera floating through a house, but you're like, don't go around that corner. Like, I don't want to see what's around that corner. It really had that kind of vibe to me as well, man. And I'll tell you what, it's really got me fascinated to check out all the director's other extensive body of work.
I was so surprised when I looked, and there's nothing else. Like, just
this is the only thing he's done.
The only feature-length thing he's done. He's got 2 shorts, but like, and it's like, why not? What? I know. I need to know, like, what happened, because this is really well done. I mean, he was worked on a project he was trying to get done. His name's Joel Anderson. We didn't say his name, sorry. He was working on a project trying to get this movie made, and basically he was being told the budget was too big, so he started working on something to try to figure out like a smaller budget thing he could do, and this is what came out of it. And it just seems like, okay, so you got a good filmmaker who showed that with a low budget he could make something like this. Why aren't we seeing any more? I would like to know.
If he can work this well under those constraints of budget and stuff, holy shit. Now let me ask you this: do you know if the big money project he was working on, was it this story and he decided to tell this story as a cheap documentary? Is something different?
It was a different thing, I believe. Yeah.
God, what is it about?
I don't know. I'd like to know.
Wouldn't it be awesome if it did turn out just to be some like fucking bullshit, stupid ass idea?
Ice Pirates 2.
Yeah. Ice Boogaloo. I don't know. Lake Mungo 2. Electric Mungaloo.
Lake Mungo 2. She's back.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, this guy, like, I'll tell you, the fact that this is the only thing that he's ever done, and then he's just kind of become a ghost. Like, his IMDb doesn't even have his headshot on it. It's just like the blank picture. You can't even find what this guy looks like, is insane. And to me, that makes it, God, it makes it even more mysterious. Like, it makes it to me like, imagine if you know, Tool released Enema, and that's the only thing they ever did, and then they just vanished. And people are just like, have you heard this album by this band called Tool? It's the only thing they ever did. Or like, if Pink Floyd just released The Wall and called it quits, and that's their singular thing they've done.
It would be just a very, like, there'd be a lot of questions of, well, what happened here? Like, that. Yeah. That seemed like a real ambitious project with a whole lot of, like, talent to it. Could we see some more, please?
But I also saw a quote from him where he said that, like, from the get-go, the idea of a flick kind of coming out of nowhere and nobody really knowing anything about who made it and stuff, and it being a very mysterious, like, this could be real kind of movie, he said from the get-go he thought that was a very appealing idea, for this to be a movie that gets unearthed years later and people are like, where did this come from? And nobody can find any details about it. So he kind of had that in mind, and it sort of makes me wonder if, like, if this was written under a pseudonym or if he has since started writing under a pseudonym. Like,
oh, man.
You know?
Do you think it's possible, I don't know if the dates line up, but 2008, you think it's possible after this he's the guy who created Bitcoin?
Oh my God, it very well could be.
He was like, well, I don't need to make another movie, and it kind of fits with that ethos I had of that movie, so I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out. Cryptocurrency. That's it, man.
Created Bitcoin.
Okay, could be. I think that makes it really cool, though. I mean, the fact that, like, you can't really find anything about this guy, and it just seems like he had just this one statement he wanted to make, and he's like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Man, I think that makes it really cool.
Yeah, no, I think that would be cool if you're right that it's just like a pseudonym, and that the idea was to just make it this weird project that people find later and they're like, wait, is this real? Because I could very easily see this being rediscovered in 2028 and people not really having a grasp of what it is.
Yeah, totally. Man, it's really, really interesting. And the documentary feel of it is so very convincing that I honestly think that you could just put this on for somebody that doesn't know anything about it and be like, oh yeah, watch this documentary about this crazy unsolved death in Australia that happened in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I really think somebody could just sit there and watch this and be like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Did they ever solve it? Did they ever find out what happened? What the fuck was that video at the end? Like, I honestly think you could fool a lot of people into thinking that this was real. I know it would work on me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. And so, yeah, this is an interesting little movie that I guess we should probably talk about the events.
Yeah, let's talk about the basic story, because it's kind of like A Christmas Carol, where it's like Alice was dead to begin with. Like, when our tale starts, Alice has already died. The daughter of a seemingly average family, 2 parents, a son, a daughter, goes on a swimming trip during a family picnic and drowns. Nobody ever sees her again. And then the family starts getting possibly paranormal visits, thinking that the daughter is haunting the house. And, through their just trying to come to terms with the loss and the inexplicable way that she left the world, they uncover that she had secrets.
Yeah.
And man, does shit ever get weird.
One quibble there is she is found. They find her body.
Yeah.
So she's not just like lost and like they think maybe she's gonna come back. The mom does think that though, because she didn't see the body. And there's the twists and turns of everything, and it plays out so much like a very solid murder documentary, that just exactly what you want out of those, which is unfortunately the gruesome details and secrets of a person's life, which you don't tend to seek out when someone dies of an illness. You don't tend to look for their secrets. So the moment someone dies in a suspicious way, that's when you start trying to figure things out. Like, well, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And that's when everything starts looking weird.
That's true. Yeah, you go back and look at old photos, and you're like, well, they did look kind of sad here.
Yeah.
Or, well, that person was looking at them aggressively when we went and saw a movie that night or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, everything looks suspect whenever the death was really unexpected.
We just talked about this on the We Need to Talk About Kevin episode about how, looking back on things, you can over-exaggerate certain things or project a lot of, like, the future onto the past. And this movie kind of explores that. It explores, like, what can we believe? What can we know for sure in any of this?
And also, too, like, how well do you know a person, even a family member that's living in your house? You don't know all their secrets. Yeah,
you don't know anyone fully, ever. It's impossible. There's always something hidden, something... And this movie is kind of about that. I mean, what happens in one way of looking at this, the supernatural way of looking at this, is that Alice, while walking on the lake, sees her own self. She sees a doppelganger of herself, but dead.
Yeah.
And then the events of her life lead up to her then drowning at that lake. So this is classic doppelganger shit. That's what doppelgangers are always up to. They're like, hey,
doppelganger's got a doppelgang.
I'm gonna come into your life and upend it. I am a bad omen, most likely an omen of your death.
We got to do something about these doppelgangers, man. They are really cancel doppelgangers too while we're at it.
You know what? Cancel doppelganger. Every doppelganger needs to be canceled, and let me tell you why. They're dicks.
Yeah, they seem to be.
That good enough? Yeah, they're dicks.
Not a lot of good ever comes from them, as far as I know. I mean, we've seen us too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not cool, these doppelgangers. So basically, if we look at the supernatural reading of this, that's what happened, and then she is returning, but also she kind of dreamed of herself as a ghost. So there's kind of like some potential time displacement things going on,
especially
as well.
At the end. Yeah.
But another way of reading this is everybody's trying to make a lot out of something, and they want explanations for a tragic death, but there aren't any. But they're trying to make those explanations. I mean, one example of why I think that we have to look at this as perhaps unreliable storytellers giving us information, her family and the people around her. Her dad talks about that one night when he, like, this is the first time that they see Alice after she's dead, or he does. He's in her room, and then suddenly she walks in, and she's just going about her day without noticing him, and then he stands up, and she notices him, and then comes lunging at him, saying, "Get out, get out."
Yeah.
A little later in the documentary, they're talking about Matt, kind of obsessively filming everything as a young man. And one of the films is of him secretly filming Alice. Then she turns around and notices him and comes running at him, screaming, "Get out, get out."
I know. I noticed that. I was like, that's exactly what the dad was talking about.
The father was just falsely remembering a video, is one way to see this. He remembers the video his son shot, and he is putting together things that weren't real.
See, I wondered about that too with the mom, because the mom talks about how she had a dream where Alice was standing at the foot of the bed crying.
Yep.
And then later on, Alice said she woke up from a dream, and I want to talk about this more later. She said she woke up and she felt drugged, and the feeling didn't go away when she woke up, and she just went into her parents' room and stood at the foot of the bed and cried because she knew there was nothing they could do for her anymore. Which is so fucking brutal and sad the way she says that. But then when the mom says that was a dream she had, it's like, well, was it? Or did you maybe, see that in the haze of sleep, and then in the morning think of it and be like, oh, it was a weird dream?
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of overlap with things. And like, obviously, after the dad has that vision, there's some pictures that come out that could be Alice, but then we find out that, one, it's just Matt in the background in Alice's hoodie, and two,
just clowning.
Yeah, two, Matt doing double exposures, or doing projections of her in the background of videos. So those are fake. And then we're supposed to believe, though, after that all the things are real. But why?
It's very, like, you feel like very manipulated while you're watching the movie, where it's just like, oh my God, she's in the no, she's not. Yeah. But there also might be ghosts. Wait, what? Like, it's very, like, I don't know what to believe, which is also the mark of a good documentary too. Like, there's been a lot of documentaries that we've watched that have been like, man, I think that guy's lying, but also this other guy sounds like he might be lying too.
Yeah, he does that so well. Like, honestly, the first time watching it through, the only way I saw it was the supernatural way.
Yeah.
But then I read that the filmmaker didn't see it as a paranormal movie. He saw it as a movie about grief. And so thinking of it as a movie about grief, it's like, oh, okay, well, these are all the ways that these people dealt with their grief of their daughter and all the ways they found of trying to make sense of this. And finally, they feel like they can move on at the end. And whatever it is that got them to feeling like they can move on, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, totally.
Just that they can move on from this tragedy is a positive thing.
And in their process of dealing with their grief of losing their daughter and trying to figure out, like, why did this happen? What was she hiding? Blah, blah, blah. The one big question that it only really hit me a day or two after watching the movie. The one big question they never really ask is, why did she drown? How did she drown? Like,
yeah,
what caused her to die? Like, they were so obsessed with their own grief and trying to figure out, like, oh, why was she taken from us and stuff? They never said, how was she taken from us?
Yeah, it really is just accepted very much that she did drown. And the documentary doesn't ever really call into question much.
No.
But there is the mention that maybe the Poolies? The Tuohys. The Tuohys.
The neighbors, yeah.
The neighbors that she babysat for that had sex with her. We'll talk about that in a second.
Oof, man.
There's some maybe idea that perhaps they were involved in her death.
I mean, they were obviously very shady and having a sexual relationship with a 15 or 16-year-old.
16-year-old.
They broke into the house to try to find the sex tape, and then they amscrayed and left town and maybe changed their names, and nobody knows where they are. Like,
right.
That definitely does look guilty as fuck. But is that a red herring? I don't know.
I mean, there's two ways to look at that sex tape. One, as the police say, she is of legal age, and from the video, seems to be consenting.
Oh, yeah.
So the Tuohys don't have anything to run from. Like, the family tells us they ran, but did they run? Or were they just trying to get away from this weird stigma? Or were they just moving? Obviously, he broke in for that tape. So there's something there. Like, obviously, I don't care if she is of legal age. They shouldn't be having sex with a 16-year-old.
No.
Yeah,
no.
They're adults. They had kids that were tweens, it looked like. So this is inappropriate as fuck. Doesn't matter how legal it is. But also, the mother's, the sort of inferring from all this that maybe that's what led to her death. I don't know. Like they think maybe it's so much like of this, just guessing, and that's what the movie relies on a lot is just this guessing as to her motivations that keep us constantly in this feeling of like, who was she? Who was this Alice? Like, right. We never get a full picture of her because I mean the sex tape, she is into it, but that's also adults manipulating a teenager. So like, how into cool it was she? Is her mom right? Was she traumatized by this event?
And then there's also a lot of speculation about maybe Matthew did it.
Yeah, there's that angle.
He was constantly like filming her and in her face with the camera, and everybody says that they were close, but we mainly just see her being like, "Why are you in my room? Get out of here with your camera."
Right.
And him kind of being creepy, honestly. And also, like,
maybe
he's obviously shady, or at least has weird ways of going about things, with him being like, maybe if I fake the ghost of my dead sister in these photographs, it'll make my family happy. Like, he at least has a weird way of processing things.
He does.
That you could look at that action of him faking the photos and stuff as being like, this might give my mom hope and closure.
Yeah.
Or he's just really fucked up. It's hard to say.
I think that she just drowned. And I think that, it was a weird teenage boy way of processing things that just... But there's very much a way to see this as like, oh, he's like already pretty adept at staging false realities and upholding lies over a long period of time, and not really seeming to express much guilt or remorse about it.
It's definitely suspicious, and it's one of those things that I thought about a lot after I watched the movie, in terms of, when I was just like, wait, but who killed her? Like, did she just drown? Was it a drop bear? Did the drop bear get it in Australia?
Probably a drop bear, yeah.
Could have been. And yeah, like the second time watching it through, watching all the Matthew stuff, it was just kind of odd. Like, their relationship was at least strange enough that I noticed,
Yeah, but again, like, how strange would it be if she didn't die?
Well, but again, it's like, also too, kind of like what we were saying, whenever somebody dies under unusual circumstances, it makes you look at all those totally innocuous videos and be like, oh, she told him to get out. She was angry at him. He was filming her. It's like, well, maybe it was totally normal, and if she hadn't died, I wouldn't look at it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is just brother-sister behavior, and he really loved his sister, and he's devastated by her death. That's common, normal everyday stuff, but it's placed in this light. The moment that we all feel like we get to weigh in, basically, is when things kind of go askew. Because the second that we all feel like, oh, this is a public matter, that's when we start to pry and prod and find everything to judge about other people's lives and things like that. And that, like, this movie kind of exposes a good bit of that. I mean, the movie is not... I don't think that this film is saying these type of documentaries are a good thing and they give us a definitive ending. I think it's saying, like, these type of documentaries, like, this is exactly what they do. They cast suspicion on everything. They cast suspicion on everyone.
Yeah.
And in this case, I love the fact that the cause of death is never really a question. Like,
right.
It's just drowning. We're looking at ways that there could have been a killer and who it would have been, but the documentary never really goes anywhere with that.
No.
I mean, mockumentary, fake documentary.
Yeah, sure feels like it.
Yeah. It never really goes anywhere with that. It is exploring the ways that this family deals with their grief, and also what happened is never fully explained. We're only given that blurry 2007 cell phone, like half a megapixel camera video where we see that face.
Oh my God.
That we're told to associate with her dead face. And so we do. But
oh my God, dude.
It could be anything. It could just be somebody with a flashlight shining on their face.
Well, that's the thing about this, though, is the way that this movie does so much stuff with grainy, low pixel count, early 2000s cell phones. It really plays with that. I can't remember what the scientific term for it is, but it's that, natural instinct of the human brain to try to find faces and like everything.
Yeah.
It's like para something or another. I can't remember what it's called, but it really does play on that, where, like, especially some of the really early shots that you get of Alice's ghost in the background, it zooms in and zooms in and zooms in and zooms in, and your mind makes it into a face.
There's one in particular where it zooms in, and I'm like, why is it zooming in on this? And I didn't ever.
I know the one you're talking about. It's like in the hallway, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, what am I looking at? I can't see anything. And they're like, and you see it clear as day. And I'm like, no, I actually don't.
Yeah.
At all.
And that's it. Yeah, I think that's an intentional like use of that, where it's like it's showing like they're seeing things, like they're looking real hard for these things and seeing these things.
But dude, even just the way that those shit cameras that they filmed that on, you know, when they zoom in on stuff, and especially when it's low light at nighttime, like a lot of the videos are, the way that whenever they zoom in and the natural distortions and, you know, pixelation and stuff that occurs will even make a totally static, you know, face of Alice's ghost look like maybe it's making facial expressions or it's playing on your mind, going like, is it moving right now? Like, again, that could be a fucking pumpkin on a brick wall and you wouldn't know. Your brain is going, it's Alice, I can see your face, it's moving. It's like your brain does so much work in this for you, and it's honestly just shit footage that they used, and it's so fucking convincing. There's something about the fact that it is kind of garbage looking during those parts that makes it scarier to me, man, because it reminds me of our early days on the internet and the weird fucking holes that you could go down in the early 2000s.
There was
and
some
you'd watch
weird
videos.
Shit.
Yeah, you'd watch videos that were just like, what is this?
Uh-huh.
And it would be like the fucking beach video. Like, that feels like a video I would have stumbled on in 2006 and not been able to fucking sleep that night. It feels like some weird random internet video that you would come across and not be able to explain, and because of the low quality, not even be able to tell if it's fake or not, but it just haunting you, man. I don't know if you had any experiences like that with like early internet days back then, but I remember finding stuff like that and just being like really uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of shit early internet that made me really uncomfortable, but yeah, no, I know the stuff you're talking about. There was a lot of stuff that it didn't stick with me, but I know what you're talking about. Less early internet, more recent, the Elisa Lam video did that to me.
What was that?
I don't know. They made a documentary that really exploited a lot of this story recently for Netflix, but the Elisa Lam story was this girl was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles, and there's a really weird video of her looking like maybe someone was chasing her. And then acting very strangely in an elevator, and then she was found later dead, drowned in the water reservoir thing on the top of the hotel.
Jeez.
Yeah, the story is a real sort of mystery, and if you see the video, she's acting very strangely, but they're investigate the case. It's not I wouldn't recommend that documentary, I'll say, but the story, the video itself was very creepy and just like stuck with me and made me like for a couple of days just kind of like freaked out.
Yeah, that sounds definitely weird, man. And I think that just watching this kind of took me back to that. Like, I feel like if this was, you know, made now and all the cell phone footage was on you know, a newer iPhone or Droid or something like that, and it looked super good and super crisp, I think it would be a lot harder to sell this, man, because again, just due to the low quality, like whenever we see the fucking dead girl on the beach or whatever the fuck that thing is, it's so much of your mind filling in the gaps of the footage, because like if you just see that still, it probably won't have any effect on you at all. You probably you know, until it's right up on the camera, you probably can't even tell what the fuck it is. But by this point, the movie has trained you to zoom in closelier, more closelier. Do you see the face? I see the face. That like anytime it shows you any of this footage, I don't know about you, but my brain was going into overdrive, being like, what am I looking at? What is that? Who is that? Is it her?
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we talked about with I think it was with Paranormal Activity, where it's like the movie trains you to watch the corners in the background so much
Yeah.
that, it can show you something in the foreground and scare the shit out of you. And it's so crazy to me, too, that this came out pre-Paranormal Activity. Like, apparently this is being written in, 2005? What?
Well, I mean, Paranormal Activity came out in 2007, technically.
Okay.
Went out on festivals, so it came out before, but, there's no way Joel Anderson knew anything about Paranormal Activity. So they're simultaneously basically being thought up and executed, and completely hitting on so many of the same elements of training you to scan for things, low budget, using the low budget cheap camera element to your advantage. All of those things that Paranormal Activity really shines at, Lake Mungo really shines at, and there's no way that they were taking from each other.
Yeah, totally, man. Made on opposite sides of the damn world at the same time,
So that's really cool.
Very, very effective, man. Very, very fucking effective to me.
What you were talking about regarding the low grade quality of the cell phone, this is, I think, one of the genius elements of this movie is that it pulls out all of the tricks of spiritualism. The rise in spiritualism happened in the Victorian era in the 19th century, but basically it was really constantly being puffed up by new advances in technology. So projection, the use of projection that we see in this was used a lot of time in stage shows by spiritualists, magicians, or whatever. The use of double exposure to create spirit photography. It's very interesting. Spirit photography became super popular right around the time double exposure was figured out. It's crazy.
What are the odds?
It's almost it's like zero spiritual photography existed before they discovered how to make double exposures. So
what do you know?
What do you know? So this movie works with those things and then also introduces the new thing, and that is the limitations of technology being used to create the illusion of spirit. So we have Matt doing the just double exposure stuff, which, he talks about. And then also the use of reflections and things to create a projection. But then he says that everything after a certain point he couldn't have done because he wasn't there.
Oh, when he was on his weird road trip with the psychic, whatever the fuck is up with that.
Right. And we just take him at his word for whatever reason, that he couldn't have taught his parents how to do these things to keep up the story.
Right, maybe they were benefiting from all the exposure and stuff, right. So it's well, I'm gone, so if you guys could doctor up this footage, that'd be great. Yep, maybe that happened, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many